I'm joined here today by the one, the only, of course, I'm talking about Will Brooks coming off the big win over Jose Filiao at the Art of Scrap 3. What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed, brother. Just at the car dealership with my wife right now. We got the new addition to the family, so we got to get a bigger car now.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was congratulating you on the new car, but I didn't realize like there was something even more exciting than the car. Like there was a reason you were getting a new car.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we just had our third child. We had our baby girl October 14th, a week after my birthday, and a week. I think it was a week before I fought. So yeah, man. We've been a little busy.
It's funny because in the age of the internet, I feel like we're watching you as you're going through this. Like we're seeing you, get children and stuff like that, build your family. It must be a little bit weird for you sharing all that stuff because you have thousands of people watching what you're doing.
Yeah, you know what? There are times where I'm like, you kind of filter through things and you're like, man, how much do I want to share of my life? And, how uh, how much am I putting out there? But at the same time, you're just like, you know what? Outside of the fighting and things like that, I'm just Will Brooks. I'm a regular human being, and, I have my family that follows my Instagram page and social media and stuff like that. And when we post family photos, things like that, it's easier for those individuals to access those photos rather than try to send everybody a text message or the new baby this and that. So it's kind of cool to connect with the fans and family and just do it all in one.
So how was it for you, having your baby and then you have the fight coming up? What do you do in that situation? Like do you have to, focus on the fight? Like how are you handling something like that?
Yeah, man, it's a evolution. It's a evolving thing. I think for when we had our first child, I definitely don't think that I did a very good job with kind of delegating and dividing up my time between fighting and being a dad and being a new husband. I kind of, for me, I'm 0 to 60. So if there's one thing that needs my attention, I'm giving it all of my attention. And when I became a new father and became a new husband and a homeowner, I did all that at once. So I was like, all right, this needs all my attention. And I kind of took all my attention from fighting. So over the years of, learning from mistakes and understanding that, hey, part of my job as far as being a good husband and father is being able to do my job, which financially provides for them. So as each child has come, I've gotten better with understanding how much energy and how much time I need to be given to my family, and not in a negative way, in a positive way, and really communicating with my wife and trusting that she's going to be able to carry a lot of the load while I go out there and train and get ready to compete.
You mentioned the financial side of things. We know this was a few years ago. You had fought for Battlefield. The big thing was they didn't pay any of their fighters. What's the update? Like, have we given up on that, or have you finally been compensated?
No, we didn't get paid, man. $30,000, bro. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. We as athletes, we typically don't like sharing our financials, but different promotions and different people are going to put it online anyhow. But yeah, we didn't. I didn't get my money. I went through a bunch of legal things, and being that the card was in Macau, China, I guess they're like their own little like island, almost have their own little like government system. So it was like a bunch of different loops that I had to jump through that would have ended up having me pay more money to
Oh,
actually get the money, through lawyers and a process of being international, all these different things. So, it was one of those things where we just had to chalk it up to an L. It was one where, w- we knew going into the fight that this organization had that history. So in that time, I just had to look at him and like, look, Will, you made a mistake. You trust in an organization that you knew had a background in not paying their fighters. So it's kind of on you. So I just took that as an L and just kept it moving. It sucks to do it, but sometimes you just got to put it on your own shoulders and keep it moving.
and so we know that you're currently on the comeback trail. We see you taking all these different fights and stuff. How's this sort of working for you? Is it about taking fights with opponents that make sense in different promotions? Like, how does this sort of period kind of look like for you?
Yeah. So me and my team, we were looking at this whole thing and trying to figure out how to get myself back going. And, during COVID, that kind of shut a lot of things down for me. I had signed with an organization that was international, Aries FC, and they weren't able to have any events because international travel was shut down. So they ended up kind of just keeping us on the sidelines. And once they figured out that they weren't going to be able to do anything, they released me from my contract. So with me and my team, we kind of stepped back and was like, all right, listen, we want to get back to competing at a high level, but we might be rushing things and jumping on things that are just you know more rushing things on oh, we got to hurry up and get this done. We got to go and take every single opportunity, and we started realizing that, hey, maybe we just slow this thing down, control what we can control, and then go from there. So one of the things that I can control is just kind of finding these regional fights that the promotions are pretty professional in regards to their product that they're putting out, and they've given me a little bit of control because I hadn't fought in almost 3 years, really. Like, so it was like, all right, well, we got to ease our way back in. So we've been able to select opponents, and not so much select opponents, but be aware of what we're trying to do. The first fight, it was more, let's try to get our body rolling again, get loose, get the jitters out, um, go through a training camp, go through the weight cut, and just grind out a win. Just to get some of those extra jitters out, not the actual in the cage competing part, but the interview stuff, the leading up to the fight, the nerves, that second of being fearful, all that stuff. Let's wash that all out, and then we'll move to the next one. And the next one will step up in talent, will step up in challenge, and then we'll look to start to pick up our pace as far as striking and being aggressive, attacking. So this last fight was our second phase of this whole process. So we accomplished that, and now we move forward to the next stage. And next stage is try to step up in competition, and look for another finish and get looser and looser, and then we move forward and see if we can't get back with a bigger promotion.
So what's the end goal of this? You mentioned a little bit the bigger promotion. Do you have one in mind? Like, what's the goal of sort of this comeback? What are you sort of envisioning for yourself?
Yeah, man, I haven't been like one to hide from it. I'll be completely honest, man. I've been focused on getting back to the UFC. Um, I'm It's one thing that has really set on me like for a while now. Every organization that I've gone to, I've had a winning record except for the UFC. And that was one of the things that really has frustrated me. And I would love to be able to get back there. So our main goal is to try to get back to the UFC. And if that's not something that will mature and like be an opportunity, then we're more than willing to go in a different direction. But as a competitor, as the guy that's sitting on the outside watching a lot of these guys compete and win, I'm frustrated because I'm like, damn it, if I had just did the things that I needed to do, I would be in those positions. And it's been frustrating. So what I've done is just put my head down, get in the gym, train hard, made my mission clear, and stated my purpose with what I'm trying to do clear. And hopefully we can do this process and it all comes together. But that's my main focus right now, is getting back to the UFC and setting things straight. And I really believe that I can do that now. I'm in a way better mental and emotional place than I was at the time when I went there. And I'm just ready to keep it rolling.
I'm sure you could have guessed this question was coming, but we just saw Michael Chandler compete this past weekend. What do you think watching that whole thing? Like, you guys were in very similar situations, weren't used the same way in the UFC. What have you thought of his whole run and how everything that's gone?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, man. Like, me and Chandler was what, like 4 years ago, or like whatever it may have been. But at the same time, it is one of those things where you see it and like, look, I beat that guy once on 2 weeks' notice. I beat that guy again on a full training camp, and I was the first person to finish him. He had never been finished until he fought me. I wrote the week of the fight on every poster that we had to sign. I wrote Will Brooks, the first guy to ever finish Michael Chandler. I put it all into fruition. I thought it into existence. And so to see him having success, of course, look, man, I want every human being and every man to be able to provide for his family and have success in regards to anything that he does. But at the same time, it gets on my nerves a little bit. It frustrates me a little bit. And this doesn't just go for a Michael Chandler. This goes for a Justin Gaethje. This goes for a Charles Oliveira. This goes for all the guys, like that I see winning right now and having success. Dan, the Dan Hookers who was having success, the like this goes for everybody, you know. It's like, man, I know I could beat a lot of these guys, and when I'm locked in and I'm focused and my mind is in the right place and I'm emotionally in a good place, I could beat anybody at any given day of the week, you know. And unfortunately, that's the one thing that I didn't accomplish. You know, I wasn't in a good mental and emotional health, place, mentally, emotionally, and I should have addressed that when I had the time, and I didn't. I didn't properly address it at that time, and I paid for it. You know, I went into a cage with another man across the cage, ready to take my head off my body, and I didn't give the respect that I needed to give. So I paid for it. Now I'm in a way better place. I'm feeling like the old Will Brooks, the guy that was dominating and being aggressive in every single fight, and that's what I'm really focused on, continue to be. And you know, best of luck to Chandler, best of luck to all those guys. But I know one thing: if I do get the opportunity to get back there, nobody's going to see me fighting like a Michael Chandler or a Justin Gaethje, where, you know, I personally think Chandler quit in that fight. He knew that he wasn't going to beat Gaethje, and he saw Gaethje had a step on him. So instead of trying to win the fight, he started trying to entertain the crowd. I think that was a backdoor exit for him. I was like, all right, well, this guy's lighting me up. I'm losing this fight, so I might as well try to win over the crowd, which is cool. Good politics, good strategy, but I fight to win, bro. Like, that's what I do. I fight to win. I put together strategies to outdo the other guy, and that's what I'm focused on.
Was there any extra frustration in you signed with the UFC, you fight Ross Pearson, he signed with the UFC, fights Dan Hooker, and then fights for a title. When you guys were both champions at the time when you signed, like, is there any extra you're like, why couldn't I have had that same situation?
No, man, because I can't control what everybody else does. You know, I can't control everybody else's journey. I can only control what I can control. Is there a bit of frustration because I know what I'm capable of? I know what I can do. I know what I could have done at that time physically. Do I know that at that time, mentally, emotionally, I had no business being in any organization, like UFC, Bellator, anywhere. I had no business being anywhere. I should have took time away and just been focused on my mental and emotional health. And I didn't have very much understanding of that. You know, I was kind of just operating in like a functioning depression, you know, and I was in a weird place. But again, I can't control what everybody else is doing. I can't put my energy into that, because if I do, I don't have that energy to give to my wife, to be the best husband and father that I could be to my wife, and be the best father I could be to my kids, you know. So I don't give that energy. All I give energy to is controlling what I can control, and that's really focus on my mental health and emotional health, and making sure that I'm mentally, emotionally, and physically on the same page. So again, if I do get the opportunity to go back to the UFC, that when I show up this time, it's not just smoke, you know, it's not just me saying what I'm capable of or a bunch of other people saying what I'm capable of. It's just me putting exactly what was supposed to happen on display. And I feel it in my bones. I think God's going to move in my life and give me an opportunity to do something.
So what can you share with us? You mentioned you're in a much better place mentally and stuff like that. What can you share with us in terms of that sort of recovery to get yourself to a better place mentally? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, man, I think it was one of those things where I had to be honest with myself. You know, I had to be honest and open, and admit to some things that were mentally, emotionally, um, you know, blocking me. Some things from my past, some things from childhood, going to therapy, talking with therapists, and understanding that there were some things that I never healed from my childhood, that was kind of just starting to creep up because I was spreading myself thin. You know, I had become a new father, a new husband, homeowner. I was having all this success, and you know, people in my family and my life was coming around asking for money, and I want to be the savior to my family, because I come from a family where we didn't come up with very much. So, and not many of us have a opportunity to be as successful as I was being. So I took on that responsibility to be the one. I'm going to be the one to change it all for everybody. And it took a lot out of me, mentally, emotionally. So it left a space for things that I didn't heal from as a youth to creep into my review, slide up on me, and I didn't address it. And during this time that I've been away from the sport, I've hard conversations with my wife, hard conversations with my therapist, hard conversations with, parents and family members, things like that, just to, heal and address things that should have been addressed in the past, and just take responsibility for my own part to play in a lot of things. So it's been a process, but I think we're doing a great job. Me and my wife being open in communication, and me and my therapist being open in communication, and me just being open about some of the things that I've struggled with. So um, I think honesty and vulnerability has made me a much stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically as a person.
And so, where are you training now? I know a few months ago I talked to Diego Lima, who was saying you were in Georgia with those guys at ATT. Are you still over there with the Lima brothers?
Yeah, man, I've been out here for about 3 years now. We've been here in Georgia, um, and those guys have been amazing, man. Like those guys are individuals that have actually helped me during this process of growing mentally and emotionally. Because I've been in the gym with Diego and Douglas and Coach Jucal, and just watching the way these guys operate in life. Their as far as their how strong they are is in their faith, how they operate as husbands and fathers and leaders in their gym. Being able to be in that space and be around those guys and continue to learn from them has been an incredible blessing that I do not take for granted. And every day I'm continuing to learn something from those guys and implement those things into my everyday life as a husband and a father and just an overall man. So I've been out here for 3 years, and Coach Jucal has been incredible in regards to helping me with my jujitsu, something that I think a lot of us know that I've struggled with in some of my losses. So he's taken me under his wing, and he's put nothing but faith in me and believe in me, and we've done nothing but just continue to grow and get better. And I feel amazing being out here, rejuvenated and refreshed, and just stronger than ever.
But before we wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about PFL because that was a bit of an odd situation where you were kind of the first, big name guy to sign with them. You were explaining to people this is what the new season is. It's like the NFL. And then, they didn't pick you up for the second season. What can you tell us about what happened with PFL? Because that seemed like a real odd situation.
Just it was circumstances, things that I didn't react well to. I put myself in a tough situation. They had to make a business decision in regards to moving off of me. And to be honest, they had every right to. They had every they were in a position to be able to do that. I didn't do a great job with reacting to certain things that were taking place, and I got myself in a little bit of trouble. And I'll be honest about that. I have to take responsibility for that. But again, that's something that things that you continue to grow from, you continue to learn, you continue to become better and a little bit more patient, and picking and choosing your battles, which are some things that I've struggled with in the past. So I'm doing better with that, and it is what it is. So I just put my head down and continue to move forward, and again, take responsibility for my role to play in things, and just continue to move forward and get better.
All right. So one last question for you, because I have taken up a lot of your time and I do truly appreciate it. I know you have the new vehicle, the new child, a ton of stuff going on, but what's next for you fighting wise? Like, are you able to sort of figure that out or is it just kind of a wait and see?
Yeah, I think we've got a couple things going right now. I think I wanted to try to get one more fight in before the year's out, just again because I'm just respecting the fact that, look, man, I didn't fight for almost 3 years, so I've got some cobwebs and some rust to knock off, and in order for me to go and do the things that I believe that I can do, if I'm given the opportunity to go back to the UFC, is I have to be ready. I have to make sure my body is loose. I'm mentally, emotionally in a good place. I want to try to make sure that I'm dealing with a new coach, Coach Jucal. We're building our relationship, our communication skills. I'm getting a feel for how he likes to coach. He's getting a feel for how I like to be coached and how I compete. So I would love to give us a little bit more time to grow that relationship and continue to build and make sure that we're in a good place. But if something comes up, then we'll jump on it, But right now, we're just going to take it one step at a time. The plan is working really well. The first fight, wasn't super active, but I just did what we needed to do. Get out there, knock some rust off. Second fight, get out there, get a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more of a talented or a little bit more higher skill level. Get out there, attack, work my jujitsu, look for a finish. We were able to do that. This next fight, we're going to be trying to focus on staying on my feet, working on some striking, and adding some more things to it. So just continuing to build, man. And I'm excited for the future.
Well, there we go. Well, thanks so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on everything that's going on. Everything's very exciting for you, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the time.